Well, good day again. I'm really pleased today on our fireside chat to invite Patrick from Ellis Knight, who's been you've been going about 8 years now, haven't you,
Yeah,
Patrick?
that's right. It'll be 8 years this summer. Yeah.
Brilliant. And were you a team member from the start? I don't know what happened there.
Good question. We were from the old company, actually. Yeah, we used
Yeah.
to work together at different companies, so we were a team from many moons ago. But as soon as we started our own business, we became members of the team, of course.
So, just going back to the beginning, what Ellis Knight, what was the who was involved? I think there was a team of three of you, but what was the driver and motivation for kicking off?
Yeah, so the three of us that own the business, myself, Paul, and Dave,
Yeah.
equal shareholders. And look, all of our backgrounds are from the big agency. So I was a Reed at 10 years, Paul's at Robert Half, and I think Dave was at Reed as well. So we had that really good grounding and training.
Yeah.
But we kind of just felt that those big agencies, the focus is so much on kind of KPIs and you must send more CVs and margin and so on.
Yeah.
And that just kind of, although it works commercially, it didn't sit with us as to what we wanted to do in the industry, and we thought some of that actually is kind of what could give our industry a bit of a bad name. So we wanted to start our own business that's much more about relationships and people than kind of KPIs and just sending CVs for the sake of it. So that's why we started our own business with the view that it was going to be much more about relationships. And also we kind of got this real feeling that we're really so fortunate, we're happy and healthy. And if you've got a chance to help others less fortunate, then you should do. So we always had the view that, look, fundraising was going to be a big part of what we do. And that comes from Dave. So one of our directors, Dave, it's hard to believe, but what he did was he rowed the equivalent of around the equator on a static rowing machine in Basingstoke for 2 years. So he's actually in the Guinness Book of Records. He's in between Sir Steve Redgrave and Michael Phelps is Dave the rower from Basingstoke. So, that's in our DNA. How can you let that go as well? So look, we always committed to doing fundraising events with the companies that kind of engage with us, really.
Brilliant. Now, I hope you obviously weren't managing his KPIs during that time for recruitment.
No. Well, actually, it was before he joined us. It was well before he joined us. I think before he even started recruitment, he
Okay.
just saw a chance to help out and
That's a
do this big
great story.
fundraising challenge. Yeah. Dave the rower.
We've rode an internal bike from Land's End to John O'Groats 2 Christmases ago to raise money for Great Ormond Street.
Yeah,
And
wow.
that gave me the idea to ride my monkey bike from Land's End to John O'Groats a summer later. But
Yeah, incredible.
that was hard.
Yeah, I
That's a
bet.
long way, and
Yeah,
we're trying to get everyone on the bike to help out, so it was always running.
yeah.
But yeah, so take us from those early days. How was the business set up then? Was you a generalist or a
Yeah,
special?
we were a generalist as well, and we didn't specialize in anything. We kind of did a bit of everything, but we were much more client focused. So it was all about those. Our focus is really on startups, scale ups, and SMEs.
Yeah.
So those businesses that wanted to grow their business, but maybe they're a bit nervous about, well, how do we do that? And they're petrified of blowing all their budget on big recruitment fees. So we would partner with them and shape a service offering that would support them with all of that. And it would always tag on like some fundraising. So, once a year we're doing a crazy event with them at some point to
Good.
raise some
Well,
funds. Yeah.
that must build relationships really strongly. So you
Yeah.
get underneath that you understand the DNA of the client then, don't
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the point, and it's the same with team, really, that I know you're trying to do this, it's really about raising the standards and perception of our industry, isn't it?
you? Yeah.
So look, we view that what we do in recruitment is actually really important. Helping people to find meaningful employment, look, it is really important.
Yeah.
And then you've got these businesses that want to achieve certain things and grow and so on, but they can only do that by having the right people in place. So that we thought by being close to those businesses, as you say, really makes a difference. So
Yeah.
I remember there's a client that we still work with in Newbury, and we did this rowing event at their office. So we've got two static rowing machines, and we did things like beat your boss and so on as well. You do a little rowing event. and they did it fancy dress. So there was this brilliant photo we've got. It's like shark versus banana on a rowing machine in the middle of their office, you know.
Yeah.
So you do get to know the companies really, really well. We're like, oh yeah, and I remember you were dressed as a banana doing a rowing event with us. So like, it was a good way to get to know the companies and really understand them and show that, look, we do really care about people in their business and not just about how much margin can we make and how much money can we squeeze out of this relationship.
So on those first few years, where I don't want to jump the gun here, but when did B-Corp come into? Am I jumping a bit early?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. So look, we developed that, and it was just kind of, it was in us really, you know, like I say, those values. But then look, what we developed first of all really is our RPO offering as well. What we realized, there were some companies that really bought into what we were doing. So rather than doing some of their recruitment, we ended up doing all of their recruitment.
Yeah.
And that turned us into much more of an RPO business where that we tailor these solutions to suit their requirements and so on as well. So that for me was a really interesting way of working with businesses. Look, what can we put together to support them as well? So that totally transformed our business.
Yeah.
Then lockdown happened, and that's when we really had a review really about, look, what can we do? And I think that's the number one kind of takeaway. You've asked kind of in the notes, like, can you give a takeaway from this kind of chat? And the number one takeaway for me would always be, think about what can you do. You know, there's lots of challenges, and I think lockdown was really difficult for our industry as well. So for us, a lot of the vacancies we had were kind of put on hold, and then as a management team, we got together and we said, look, what can we do? So, you know, you've got lots of people that are put on furlough, so we offered let's upskill and offer free training on things like Excel to people that are on furlough. So when they come back, they're upskilled, they're in a better position where they were. We did free charity recruitment as well to support those that needed it and so on as well. But we then had that chance to have a look at accreditations, and that's where B-Corp came along as well. So like I say, we always had those values, but if you can go through the accreditations and then prove it, we wanted to have that kind of kite mark when we're speaking to businesses that we do, you know, legally we're committed to using our business for good, and we do have these. So B-Corp was a really big one for us. The other one was kind of sustainability. Now, a lot of our staff were really interested in that. We've got a sustainability manager, Emma, and she would always badger us about recycling and checking people bins for, you know, coffee cups and bottles in bins. And she was brilliant. She is brilliant at managing that for us. So we got Planet Mark certified. So that's a sustainability consultancy that does an audit on your business, and you've got to reduce your carbon footprint by 5% a year. So we got certified by Planet Mark, and we're now a carbon neutral business on the way to net zero. So things like that really helped us during lockdown to solidify our values and our purpose. And then we translated that to everything that we do within the business, so that we're not just a company where you get a job, you fill a job, you get the next one. It's like, well, what difference are we making? What good are we doing as we go along, you know?
I love that. And actually, having investigated a bit more about B-Corp, because as you know, a couple of our members are doing that now. It matched your culture perfectly, because you'd already made those statements to your team and your staff and got everyone bought into the principles of B-Corp, and then all of a sudden that comes along. Do you know how many recruitment companies in the UK
yes.
I think it's not many.
It's not that many, no, but there's much more now. I think when we certified, we were the fourth or something. I think we were the fourth, but I think there's about 50 now as well. So more and more are joining, which is fantastic as well.
It is fantastic, but it's still 50 out of 40,000. So
there you go. Yeah. Well, there's 1,000 UK B-Corp companies.
Yeah.
You know, and 50 of those are recruiters as well. But I think, you know, it's a really good thing that we're all trying to kind of, as you're doing with team, is trying to raise the perception and the standards within our industry. But it was really good for our team to kind of have that to say, we do kind of stand for something, and the audit is rigorous. You know, they do check in your cupboard and under your desk for receipts and all of that, you know, so it is good to know.
And having this purpose and this strong culture, how has that really helped with recruitment and building the team and attracting talent?
Yeah, very much so as well. Yeah. So I think it is really important for retaining people in the business as well. So as I say, look, it can be quite monotonous, our world, you know, like get a job, fill a job and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
But if you realize that what you're doing is really helping people and you're making positive impacts, by the end of the week, you say, you know, so we'll offset candidates, when we place a permanent candidate, we'll offset their carbon footprint for 12 months.
Mm.
So, and we make donations from every placement that we make via B1,
Okay.
G1. So you can kind of get to the end of the month and it's not just about the money. It's let's have a look at the good we've done. Let's measure the impact. So
Yeah.
that's how we review our people. And they talk to their families about it. And we'll plant the same amount of trees for their kid's birthday and all these things.
Yeah.
It suddenly becomes part of our culture. So that helps people to think, actually, I can see what we're doing does make a difference and I'm proud to be here. So I'm hoping it helps with retention. So yeah, long may that continue.
And how is it difficult getting the B Corp message over to clients when you talk to them about that? Because I guess some of them haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. And what you don't want to do is kind of be a bit too kind of preaching and that this is what we are as well. So we don't want to be overly salesy with it as well. We don't want to just kind of use it as a sales tool so much as well. So we just want to make sure that people are aware of our values. But what's important to us really is, as I said, about how we start to grow the business, turn into an RPO business, is about engagement. You know, we didn't want to just have a company that will give us jobs, but they don't really care about our service, not interested in what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
We've walked away from businesses that kind of don't really value what we do. So actually, it becomes a big part of the initial conversation about their values, what are their, and then hopefully we can kind of come along with it together. So Dave the rower within our team is really good at supporting businesses to maybe go along their own journey with sustainability or becoming B Corp certified. So we can direct those businesses if they're interested in doing that. And a couple of the RPO clients have now got their applications in, which is great as well. So it's more about understanding their values. And if we can partner with businesses that share those values, then that's better for all of us.
Mm. And I might be jumping the gun a bit, but you've developed a job board, haven't you? Tell us a little bit about that, because that's for diversity and inclusion, and it's been a big part of the energy you guys have put into it over the last couple of years, haven't you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So this is Paul, one of the other directors, one of his brainchilds as well. So it was another thing during lockdown to have a look at reviewing all of our process. What can we do? Is our service truly inclusive, accessible, and equitable as well? So we realized that there's much more we could do on that, and we just took the time to develop it. And Paul came up with the idea to say, look, how do candidates know that they're applying to a company that's got the right values? You know, how are we sure they might be saying the right thing, but when I get there, does the audio match the video? You know, so we wanted to have a job board that would the companies that wanted to advertise had to go through a verification process to prove they're on a journey to becoming more sustainable, equitable, and accessible, and so on as well. So that was the idea about it. But actually what it developed into was much more of a community, much more of a community of experts as well, because we realized that if we're going to review our own process and to make sure it's accessible and equitable as well, you can't blag that. You know, we didn't want to say, well, we kind of know a bit, we've read a few articles. We realized that what you need to do is actually build up this community of experts and that can support us. So they provide us support on our process and making sure that, you know, for example, we added some new technology called Recite Me that sits across all of our job adverts, that makes it much more accessible, so that you can have it magnified, or you can block out the whole screen and just read line by line, or you can have it read out to you, or change this color scheme. So things like that make a big difference to those that might need some extra support in applying for roles as well. But what we've done is we've created this huge community called We Are Includability. That's much more than just a job board. It's this team of 60 ambassadors that support us and the businesses that we work with to provide really good support, guidance, and advice in a safe environment about anything with DE&I, transgender, well-being, mental health, anything you can think of really. So now what we do is we have a monthly employer support group, an ESG.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
free webinar once a month where we get guest speakers from our ambassadors to
yeah.
talk about different topics. And it's all about sharing ideas, sharing best practice and collaborating, really. So
Fabulous.
that's been a big part that we've been working on alongside the recruitment side. We've now got this community with includability
Mm.
that we've really built up since lockdown. So going back to my point that what can you do? We've really felt like, look, we've improved our service offering and our understanding a lot.
Yeah, without being too commercial about that initiative, what is that? What has that given you in terms of access to, candidates that you've been able to place, or is it opened doors for you with new opportunities with new clients?
Yeah, it's definitely opened new doors for us with clients as well. So,
Brilliant.
if you've got some businesses, if you're calling them just to talk about recruitment, they're not
Yeah.
so open to just having a chat all the time. But if you're saying that we want to understand about how we can work together to create inclusive employment cultures, how do you
Mm.
do that? What are the challenges? Maybe we can support you with it.
Mm.
Then that is a great way for us to open doors and support these businesses so that we know that the candidates that we're sending are going to homes where, look, they are interested in this, they are invested in that. And that's an important thing for us. Again, with those B Corp values, we want to make sure that the candidates we're representing are going to good homes. So that's kind of starts the conversation, and then naturally that's going to lead to recruitment as well. So we come at it now from both angles. So I think it's opened up some important doors for us, and there might be some that only work with us with includability, and there'll
Yeah.
be others that just work with recruitment. But our aim, and look, we're rebranding this week actually to become this new business called Disrupt, which is
Ah,
putting those two together. You bolt the two together, you get Disrupt, where you get inclusive recruitment, B Corp,
yeah.
values recruitment services, plus our includability network. Put the two together to create inclusive employment cultures.
Brilliant.
That's Disrupt.
And I would think the HR managers are much more excited about talking about um, DE&I rather than have you got any jobs as well?
Yeah, what are your
Because,
rates and where do you
yeah,
advertise and so on as
yeah.
well?
Those relationships always slightly strained with recruiters, but it's much more of a partnership if they begin to genuinely understand what
Yeah.
you're about with includability and
I,
soon disrupt. Where did the disrupt name come from? It is a good one.
yeah, we always kind of had it in the background. Again, Paul is our ideas guy, and well, he always said, look, actually, it's quite disruptive. I would like it to be disrupt. So
Yeah.
we just think it's slightly different. It's not just going back to those early days of KPIs and more. We saw something at the start of lockdown. Someone put on LinkedIn, more margin for less work. It's like that's kind of during lockdown and a pandemic. We weren't sure that was the right message to be sending out. So what we want to do is more support, and more
Yeah.
guidance and more
Yeah.
collaboration. That's what we're much more about. But by rather than just placing a candidate and then seeing how they just leaving it, and that's the end of what we do, we want to kind of work with companies long term. So that's kind of where Disrupt came from.
Good.
But going
And
back to your other point, sorry, Simon, is that
yeah, go on.
it really helps us to engage with many more people within the business. So you might have a sustainability manager. Those are really important, especially within B Corp. Sustainability is a big point. But you might have somebody within HR that's interested in diversity inclusion. They want to have a look at that. Or you might have someone in marketing. So we're engaging with a much wider range of people within these businesses to talk about lots of different things. It could be mental health, first aid training and so on, which we provide. So
Mm.
it could be loads of different things. So it's a great way to really engage, much like we were doing with the rowing challenges in the early days, to really engage with businesses and look at what we can do together.
Okay, good. And so this is all about to happen with Disrupt this week, you said, didn't
Yeah,
you?
that's it. Yeah, rebranding now.
Cool. What's the vision for Disrupt? If I can, I'll leave Ellis Knight out of that for the moment. What's the vision for Disrupt over the next few years?
So we want to grow our RPO business really as well. So no, like a lot of businesses, we were quite quiet over lockdown as well. So we really wanted to protect our people and
Yeah.
invest in new systems as well. So now we're really excited about growing the team and growing the business as well. So look, we want to get more and more kind of RPO clients that are really buying into what we're doing. We've got a really kind of exciting project that we're working on in the background with an amazing organization called JAAQ, which stands for Just Ask a Question. So that's our next thing we're working on, which is essentially a video platform that will give access to world leading experts and people with lived experience across loads of different topics around well-being and mental health and ED&I as well. So we're looking at new technology and how we can support businesses and people in that way as well. So we're looking to continue to develop, and innovation is always going to be a big part of what we do.
Wow. Have you got a room where you guys go into to brainstorm?
Well, essentially what happens is, Paul will go off and do 15 ideas and then come back and present them to us. And then Dave and I will sit down with him and say, look, 10 of these are brilliant. Let's explore them as well. So I think that's been one of the tough things, I would say, is that we'll always try and innovate. And a lot of the team members will also do the same. What else can we do and what's next as well? But look, not all ideas are going to work, of course, as well. So that can be quite tricky, but it's really important as a management team that you're close together and you can communicate and talk about, having a really good plan about how we can try new things and how we work it together, and sharing those responsibilities so that, you can use data to help shape what you do next and what's working and so on as well. So that's been a really key thing for us, is working together as a management team to make sure that we're on top of what's happening and what we're going to do next.
Yeah. And how are you nurturing and developing the team below you? And is that really important for retention?
Yeah, it is. It really is. So look, we've actually added a couple more people that are kind of quite a senior level that have worked with us for a while, that support us with it as well. So look, our model is not kind of 360 recruiters. We have a senior management team and ourselves that will go out and win the business.
Yeah.
And then we have a resourcing team that are experts at kind of finding the candidates and supporting them through that journey using video interview technology and all that kind of thing as well. So what we're doing more and more is building up that resourcing team, adding more and more into it, and then allocating them to kind of specific accounts and these RPO accounts that we manage to make sure they really get under the skin of those accounts and, filling all the best things, all the best roles that we get with them. And then with each RPO account that we work with, we produce an impacts report each year. So we'll sit down with the HR directors and the owners of the business to have a look at, right, these are the stats. We filled your jobs, of course, but let's have a look at the good that we've done. How much CO2 have we offset? What donations have we made? What good have we done together as a business? And we see real value in that. And our resourcing team love presenting that to the guys as well.
Yeah. Well, that cements some of those relationships, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In the future, builds confidence and trust. That trust thing with recruiters is it's talked about a lot, but it's difficult to really achieve. But well done. That's tremendous. Well, I really look forward to watching the growth of Disrupt.
Thank you.
Will Ellis Knight disappear as a brand, or will it be?
Yeah, it will. It will. Okay. Yeah, it will just be absorbed into Disrupt as well. Yeah. So it's still the recruitment arm, but it will be known as Disrupt from kind of this week on, I suppose.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing that, and definitely send me. We need to upgrade your profile on our website. So once you've got the branding right and the website right, we'll get Jackie and Rachel to connect with you and really showcase that new brand and vision about what you're doing. Patrick, thanks, Simon.
Yeah,
thank you very much for today. That was a great story. Really pleased you joined me on the Fireside Chat.
Thanks so much.
All the best. Cheers for now.